out. We're going to leave that there and just make a soffit. And then we'll reposition everything. Since we're going to do everything, we'll reposition everything to another location in the basement and then frame out a room and leave everything together. All this plumbing here, like, we're not going to go through and remove all this stuff. No, we're going to build a soffit here and it's going to be blocked away. You'll never see it.
Got it. If it even needs to be.
Right. Well, it will definitely need to be, because if you, like, even if to finish this basement and to frame it out.
Right.
If we're going to frame it out and finish it, you might as well build the soffit like this and cover it up and drywall it.
Right.
And let's say we reposition everything right here in the middle where your exhaust is at. And then you build out a small little room here and you encage it. And you got your furnaces there, you got your hot water tanks there, and everything's together, all new plumbing. Washer dryer should be somewhere on this area, because this is where you have your sink.
Here's the exhaust for it.
See, you have the foundations right there. There's the exhaust.
Well, there's one over here too. They might have two sets down here.
I wonder what they have going in here.
Because there's lint.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? No.
Not a hole there.
So would you? Oh yeah, there's the water slabs.
Pero esto, mira.
How would you look for foundation cracks?
Gira, ¿qué vamos a poner aquí?
One sec. What kind of heaters do you want to put in here?
Heaters for
the actual units, like forced air would be the best probably thing to put in.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Sí, el aire forzado.
Ok, entonces aquí puede poner una unidad y la otra la manda en el
attic.
En el attic.
What he's mentioning is that what we can probably do is put one in the attic for the second floor, so that way we don't gut out a lot of the walls.
All the way up.
And we could run all the ductwork down here in the basement.
Correct.
Una de las cosas es que lo mete por el piso.
Yeah, through the floors, right.
Exactly.
Yeah. El otro del
and then the other one you put them through the ceiling.
Yeah, the ceiling.
Now, will they let us? Will Chicago let us do that?
We would have to find out, but I think we will, because of the amount of spacing we have in the attic. Like, if it's not a crawl space where you're like, no one even fits in there,
and
that's
we just
why
have
we
to
measure
ventilate it correctly.
Exactly.
Maybe like a roof fan.
Yeah, it would need a fan going outside to remove some of that heat. Plus also the vent on the second floor bathroom would have to go out, because it can't go in.
Got it.
Because then it'll cause humidity with the heating unit in there.
Everybody for at the bathroom, I put the open on the floor in the room.
Right.
Open with the floor, and the second floor is open with the ceiling.
Yep.
So that way it's not a lot of gutting out and.
So
I love that idea.
Okay, now to answer your question, I mean, for the most part, foundation cracks are going to be very noticeable. If you look around the foundation down there, you can kind of walk around. The best deal to go by is where you always have water, because that's where you're going to always notice more. Like, you know, stuff like this is just regular corrosion within time. See this seam here looks pretty good. Doesn't look like there was any water coming in. The brick up on the top layers look, you know, pretty well tuck pointed, and doesn't look like there's any water stains from the higher end level. But for the most part, the basement looks pretty good from what I see from foundation. If you take a look over in this area here where we have our water utility sink for our laundry, doesn't look too bad under. I mean, it's pretty typical to see what you're looking at here in a Chicago basement, especially in a house of this nature with the extensive amount of damage. That's pretty natural. Nothing too scary, but cracks are going to be pretty visible. You're going to notice them. What I look for is just water damage, because water is your enemy. Water will cause a lot of damage and cost a lot of money in repairs. So as long as you don't see major water stains, like I really don't see water stains, there is a strong smell of mold, and it's because of, we know that the area off the far end corner of the house had extensive damage from the roof that seeped through down to the first floor, which probably set down to the basement. And that's why we smell what we smell. Plus all the piping has been torn away, so there was some water probably running for quite some time before the bank came in here and shut everything down, which again caused more mold and more mildew. And that's really what you see.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you, Emilio.
No problem. Great question. For the most part, you can see these structural beams are solid.
Yes, they are.
I mean, doesn't look like they're, been tampered with, doesn't look like there's any cracks, there's any foundation, there's any seeping.
strong down
They look strong, they look solid, they look straight, even the support beams look good, and it's right in the middle of the house the way they should be.
Can looks be deceiving though?
Looks can be deceiving, but for the most part, these are steel beams. You'll notice anything major really quick.
We're not basing it just on looks, we're basing it on experience. And I know you've seen enough of them, I've seen enough of them.
Yeah. From your opinion, what do you see?
Man. That this is the way it was, they should be making them nowadays.
Right.
They don't even do this nowadays.
No.
This structurally sound and...
These are steel beams that...
No, it's-
Yeah,
not going anywhere.
and they bolted them in the right way and... Yeah, they really did this good back then.
Even all the cross joints, as you see here, you see the support beams in between. They don't even sometimes go that route nowadays. They cut a lot of corners. All these support, all of these
crosses, yeah.
and all of these support beams going through the floor, through the house, look pretty good. I mean, you see a little stainage here, and this can just again probably be from time. You have your old water tanks here as well, like filter systems.
These are 2x10s. These are 2x10s.
These
they
are...
don't even do 2x10s anymore.
No.
They do 2x6s, 2x8s.
Yeah, mostly 2x8s are the most common.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that you see around here was just the damage of them removing the pipe work.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. We can go out towards the backyard. Now, were your plans were to frame this out and make this an apartment, correct? A garden apartment?
That would be extra. So, I would say for our numbers, don't consider it because making this into an apartment, I think would kind of be an added bonus.
Right. Que no, más que tiene una entrada. One thing to keep in mind, like kind of feeding off of what you just mentioned is, let's say for the sake of the rehab, put our focus in on the first and second floor.
Correct.
And, clean out the basement obviously and build out the utility room. Maybe put a washer and dryer in there. If you decide to go rental, put washer and dryers there that you actually have to pay for. Coin washing, drying. And then for the most part, just for the sake of the basement's appearance, we can still probably frame it out and just drywall it. And let's just say we paint it white. And even the floor, what we can do, since it's a concrete floor, to go a cheaper route and it looks high-end, believe it or not, is we can do epoxy flooring on this, just like they do on the garages.
Yeah, right.
And you put a nice epoxy gray floor with nice walls, painted white, a small utility room. You can probably keep the bathroom down here for the sake of people when they come and use the laundry room. There's a restroom here instead of running back up and down the stairs to use the restroom. Keep it there. It's already in place. I mean, what I would do is probably, this brick, I don't really like the brick. But we would have to knock it down. And just frame it out.
And just frame it. I think so too. And because ultimately, if I do go with a place down here, we'd have to have shower, sink,
And you can't run, piping through all this. You got to knock it down anyway to run piping. So.
It looks crappy anyway.
But I think that whole idea of putting an extra place down here, that would be like an added bonus. I don't want to base any of my numbers on...
I would say down here, just like I said, basically.
But like you said, just what you said, clean it up.
Frame it out, put the utility room up, and do an epoxy finish on the floor.
Right.
Nobody's going to be living down here. You don't got to insulate the floor. You don't have to insulate the walls. Just frame it out, make it look clean. So that when people come down here to use the laundry room, at least it's a clean area and it goes with the rest of the theme of the building. If you're going to do the 2 floors upstairs, backyard, garage, the front, might as well go ahead and finish the basement.
I had
I
it
agree.
in one of my places that I lived in. I actually had a concrete floor with epoxy on top of it, and
Mhm.
everyone when they came over, they loved it. It's like the new thing.
Yeah, it
So
is. We did epoxy floor in the garage at the Aspen property.
some of the stains can be a little expensive, but
Mhm.
just regular glaze is fine.
Yep.
It looks really cool, actually.
Yeah. What we'll do is I'll grab the measurement of the outside of the house and it'll give me a roundabout figure for the basement.
Okay.
Backyard.
So this is Tony and Bob reporting to you from the rehab in the basement. We'll catch you soon. Later.
See you guys.